Good evening, everyone, here from Toronto, Ontario. Tonight, I have my business partner and beloved friend, Jaikishaan Sharma from Australia. It's actually Friday in Australia, 12 p.m. So happy Friday, Jaikishaan.
Thank
Thank you for taking the time to meet with us tonight for this online Biz Talk episode 04, which I believe will be a very, very inspirational interview. Jackie Chan has a very inspirational story. I have been following him for quite a while now, and I'm quite impressed with his story and his achievements. So, Jackie Chan, to get to the weed of it, please give our audience a quick intro about yourself.
Of course, of course. First of all, I really for you to bring me up and letting me share my story, my journey, which I really believe in because we all have our own journey where we struggle, where we fight, where we win, we lose, you know. And about from Melbourne, Australia, as you already said, it's afternoon, Friday afternoon. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a son, brother, and an online business coach and a mindset coach now. So journey was not easy for me. Let me tell you that I am basically from India and came to Australia almost 15, 16 years ago to do my studies. And once I did my studies, I got into the corporate world where I worked for almost 8 to 9 years. As we all do, we work hard to make sure that our future is stable financially, mentally, and that's exactly what I was doing. And here I am today. I started my journey again 2.5 years ago in 2019 February after a very rough ride from 2015 to 2018. Yeah,
Yes, yes. I thank you for the quick intro. Very much appreciated.
thank you.
Based on the few article that I've read, and yes, you had quite the ride.
Yeah,
You came out of it very, very, very strong. And I would love for you to share a little bit more about the story with your audience. I understand that after you worked for 10 years as a sales rep,
yeah,
you were leading a telecommunication team, and at some point you were left without a source of income. And I would like you to share this story with our community and our
yeah.
audience.
Of
Uh,
course, of course. Yeah, you are absolutely right. I when I was doing my studies, I was a sales rep, and I used to knock doors and sell electricity and gas connections to the residential customers. And because I was studying, that was the best option for me to do a part-time work. And I did that. And then as soon as I finished my studies, I had opportunity to work for an energy company as a sales and marketing manager. And I was leading the team, retention team. And then after that, I moved to another company, which was my last job. But on the after working for like almost 8 9 years, uh, I was being laid out on the 12th on the 11th of October 2015. When I went to into my office, I was being asked to go home, and I didn't had any job after that from that moment. So I called my friend and I was like, "Hey, I lost my job, and do you have something which I can get?" Because the The same year in 2015, I bought a new house, which was my first house in Australia. So all my savings I had, I already put that towards the deposit for that house. And same year, just August in 2015, August, we had a baby girl came into our life. That was our first child. So my wife was out of work because of that. So I was the only one. So I called my friend and I said, "Hey, I lost my job and I need a job as soon as possible because I have a mortgage to pay. I have a new baby to take care of. Wife is not working." So he asked me to come down next morning on the 12th of October 2015. I was on my way and I made into an accident. And that's why we call life is unpredictable. I lost my job and now I'm sitting in the hospital bed and doctors telling me that I can't walk again ever because of my spinal injury. And that moment was like a 9/11, the World Trade Center. When you saw that World Trade Center falling down in pieces, I saw my life falling down in pieces in front of my eyes. You know, and when you go through that kind of a moment, that kind of a situation, nowadays mostly people get into a stress of financial stress. You know, they are less worried about that will they come out with this physical trauma, the illness, the disease, but they are more worried about how they're going to pay for their bills, how they're going to pay for their mortgage, how they're going to pay for their kids' school fees, all the bills and all. And that's exactly what I was going through. And that moment, I realized that job security is an illusion. I worked hard so many years. I gave my 200%, 500% to the company where I was working. But end of the day, what did I got? Nothing. You know, I was being laid off. The reason why? Because they wanted to save money. Were outsourcing some part of the business to overseas so they can cut down the cost. You know, so they wanted to save money, but they didn't wanted me. You know, so that's exactly what happened, and I realized that job security is an illusion. And from there, I started going into the depression, anxiety. I went into the rabbit hole. I was in the hospital for 8 months after my surgery. And when the doctors saw that I'm not improving, they asked me to go home. And then they sent me home after 8 months. They gave me a wheelchair to move around. I came back home and then I saw my wife struggling. When I was in the hospital, I was not thinking about that what my wife is will might be going through. But when I came back home, I saw her taking care of me, taking care of my baby who was only 6 7 months old, taking care of the work because she started doing some cloth alterations from home so she can make some money to pay for the bills. And then when I came back home, I asked my wife, "You are paying bills by making money from doing this cloth alteration, making dresses and all. But who's paying for the mortgage?" You know, because that question was always there. And my mortgage, my house home loan mortgage was 2,200 Australian dollars a month. And my wife was like, "Don't worry about it. It's been taken care of." I was like, "No, you have to tell me because it's eating me from inside and I want to know." And then she told me that my mom from overseas, from India, she's sending money every month so we can have a roof, so we can pay for the mortgage because it was the new mortgage, new home loan. We didn't want it to lapse any payment, because if you lapse payment, you might lose the house, you know.
Okay.
So So my mom was borrowing money from others because my mom doesn't work. My mom is a house woman, she doesn't work. So she was borrowing money from others on loan, sending money to my wife so she can pay off the mortgage every month. And that moment struck me very hard. And from there, I started making wrong decisions where I tried to attempt suicide 3 times in 2016. I tried to harm myself, and then I was being put onto a mental health care plan where I was being assigned a psychiatrist, you know, and it went for like almost 8 9 months, and then in November 2016, I was sitting on my wheelchair, and my daughter was already 9 months old by then. I saw her playing with the toys, and I looked at her, she looked at me, and that moment was like a magical moment between us. And when she looked into my eyes, and I looked at her, something happened. And that moment I decided that I'm going to get out of this wheelchair one day, and I'm going to walk again no matter what. And from there I started my journey on mindfulness. I started learning about the mindset. I started looking for people like me, those who have come out of this trauma, physical trauma, you know. And then I started connecting with people on social media. I started reading books which I have never read before after leaving my uni. So I started reading ebooks. Then I started buying books. And then finally, I started a practice. I brought a structure in my life. And the practice I started doing was like meditation, affirmation, mindfulness practice, you know, and cutting down on my limiting beliefs, and doing that for like 2016, 17, 18, for almost 3 years. I finally walked in 2019. I took my first step out of the wheelchair, you know. So there is always a way out. It's just a matter of, do you really believe in yourself and in the things you really want to believe in? Because we always listen to our limiting beliefs which we have, and those limiting beliefs are making our life miserable. So you need to start asking questions to your limiting beliefs. You need to start believing in yourself. It will take time. Okay, it's not an overnight success. Trust me. When I was sitting on the wheelchair, every single day was like a year for me, you know, every single day. And but those 3 years where I worked on myself was worthwhile, because I haven't achieved anything in my 30 years of life which I have achieved in last 2.5 years, just because of those 3 years where I have spent time on myself instead of worrying about the world and the others around me. Yeah.
Well, I I'm speechless. I honestly don't know what to answer to that, but truly inspirational, Jackie Chan. You came out of it a very noble man, very strong. Uh, you went through a journey from bottom up. You took control over your life and decided to drive change. You were not afraid to do so, and the turning point and was that magic that happened, that connection that happened between you and your daughter, and
Yes.
and and that's why we say family always come first, because they're the only one at the end of the day that count for us.
Yes.
They're the only one that we're gonna go above and beyond and make the sacrifices to offer them a better life.
Yes.
But in order to do that, we have to drive change within.
Yes.
We have to be willing to
Yeah.
grow. We have to be willing to believe in ourselves. We
Yeah.
have to think that we have to make to believe that life is limitless.
Hmm.
And truly you are the descriptions of that.
Yeah.
You
Absolutely
you
right.
yeah, you went through all stages of emotions
Mhm.
and mindsets, and you came out of it, and that's what I love about this community. uh, your story is definitely one of the most inspiring, but there are so many stories out there
Yes.
uh, that might not be as similar, but
Yeah.
this is a community that has changed the lives of many. uh,
Absolutely right.
and and it's truly something we have to work together hand in hand, because we want everyone to succeed in life. We don't want people to struggle. We
Yeah.
want people to be wealthy, but also we want people to not only wealthy with money, but educated, know what the
Full.
world is about.
It's about
And
full. It's about fulfillment, because life without fulfillment is ultimate failure.
yes,
So it's never should be about money. It should be about fulfillment. And as you said, you know, you are absolutely right. My story is not the only story which can inspire people or motivate. There are thousands and thousands of stories out there in the world, and we can find some of them in our community. Because at the start of this interview, I said, I always say this, that in everyone, every one of us on this planet got a story to tell,
yes,
because everyone is doing 100% hard work to get to that dream life.
yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Yeah, wherever you come from, wherever you are, we're all from different walk of lives, and uh, and we all have a life story. We have our destiny written, and we have to take that destiny in our hands and
Yeah,
take care of it and push forward and onward to create our success story, our family's success story, and
correct.
secure a future for ourselves.
Yeah,
So this is actually a good segue, because you touch base on job insecurity when you were talking.
yeah,
So, following some of the current market trends, and we can understand that the economy right now is very, very volatile.
yeah,
We're living in unprecedented times,
yeah.
and truly, yes, job security does not exist, and
No,
COVID is the is the situation we're living today with COVID was an eye opener for a lot of us.
yes,
So, what are your thoughts on the current market conditions, and what is today's best safety net for financial security and stability?
yeah, sure. If you go back into the 90s, when the internet, the web came, www.com, the dot com started, 99% of the people were skeptical
Mhm,
that we don't need this, we can live without it.
mhm.
And look at now, nobody can live without it, you know. So people need to understand everything requires change. Even the weather doesn't stay the same, you know. Winter goes, summer comes, summer goes, winter comes, So you need to accept the change. If you talk about the present moment, I am telling you, and everyone, those who are smart enough to understand, The next generation and the next future is all about artificial intelligence, is all about virtual reality, it's all about online presence. The reason why this was going to come, but this was going to come in 2030, but now it has come in 2021, 2022, is because of the pandemic. We were waiting for this to come in next 20 years, but now it has come before that because of the pandemic, because pandemic has pushed people to accept and understand the online platforms and the virtual reality, because people know that this is a new normal. Okay, look at the big corporate world. They are adopting all these virtual classes, virtual platforms, you know Facebook talking about metaverse, you know people talking about doing business online nowadays. But if you are not keeping up yourself with the times, the time will leave you behind. You need to understand that. And right now you are at the stage of when the internet came, when the web 01 came in 90s. So if you can get into the web 03 right now before it becomes huge and you are too late, then it's going to be, you will be the same, you will be on the same place where you are right now, because you think that this will not work for you, you think that this is not for you, you think that this is too hard, you think that this is not going to bring any happiness to you. But trust me, it might look hard from outside, but when you will jump into the pool, it's very easy to swim.
Yes.
So take this opportunity. I am lucky. I was not on Facebook, I was not on any social media, but when I got out of the wheelchair, I had only option to go online, because I can't go back to the traditional job because of my physical ability. And when I got out of the wheelchair, I started exploring all these social media platforms and the businesses, how it works and all. And I was lucky to find this community and got plugged in. And here I am, 2.5 years running the business, paid off all the debts, you know, and making money and sitting home, spending time with my daughter. Recently, just a month ago, my mom and sister came from overseas, and now they are staying with us, and we are always home. And look at, since the pandemic began, okay, if you go out on your street right now, every one house, if you will knock 10 houses, I can tell you, out of that 10 house, you will find 2 house running a home-based business.
Absolutely.
You know, people have understood that now they need something their own, and it's this 21st century has made most of the millionaires and billionaires in the world. You know, it was difficult. Let me tell you, 20 years ago, it was difficult to make $1 million.
Yeah.
But now it's very easy, very easy.
Yeah.
The only thing you need is the right system, right community, okay, and right tools. Done. If you got these three, done. You don't need anything else,
Perfect.
because most of the things is automated.
Absolutely.
If we talk about our business is 60-70% automated. you know and as you grow, it becomes 100% automated.
Yes.
Because now, if you talk about myself, I only spend 4, 5, 6 hours a week on my business. you know and that 6 hours I'm spending to help others to scale. you know that's it. That's what I'm doing right now.
That,
So you need to understand that you got opportunity. If you are not stepping in, you will be left behind, and then you will regret.
yeah.
You know, it's
One,
better.
yeah, go
It's
ahead.
better to regret. It's better to regret after trying. You know, because then you will have something to learn about it.
Yeah,
But it's not good to regret without trying.
yeah, yeah. And like you said, you looked for the opportunity, but I wanna say to the
Yeah.
audience, we live in a digital age. If you find the opportunity, explore it.
Yes.
If you don't find an opportunity, build that door to create that opportunity for yourself.
Yeah.
Build it, because today the only way to have a successful future and to secure a future for ourselves and family is to have a plan B. You never know what's gonna happen. Enterprises, corporation are all migrating into the virtual world. They're
Yes.
all replacing physical jobs with computers.
Yes.
Automation. They're using automation. And this is exactly what our system is about.
Yeah.
Automation. Everything is automated. Everything is done for you in the background, right?
Correct.
We do not, people think that we're pushy sellers, or we do not do any of that. We don't hold inventory, we don't sell. We generate leads, buyers, and everything is done in the background for you. Like
Yeah.
literally everything. Obviously, there is a time investment. There is always a time investment. If you want to succeed, you have to persevere. You have to be consistent. But there is once there is a
Yeah.
momentum, then you are set for life. You are
Correct.
set for life.
Yeah.
And that's yeah, and that's we live in a digital age, and again, thank you to COVID.
Yeah.
COVID can not only be seen as a negative uh, event.
Yeah.
COVID has woken up a lot of people from their comfort zone. They were
Yeah.
forced to get out of it, and they were forced to look for new opportunities, but
Yeah.
because they knew they will get stuck. And that
And I
feeling
think,
is the worst
yeah,
feeling.
absolutely right. And I can like, if we talk about numbers, let's talk about numbers. Before COVID, our community had 18,000 people. Okay, 18,000 people. Okay, since the COVID began, the community has jumped 400%,
Yeah.
from 18,000 to 105,000 people around the globe.
Yes.
So itself, in 2021, first 3 months, 2021 January, February, and March, GoDaddy.com registered over $1 million worth of domains in just first 3 months of 2021. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
look at the revenue of Facebook, the TikTok. Look at the revenue, the Microsoft, the Zoom. Every household was using Zoom after the lockdown. Every household.
Yeah.
Kids were doing studies on Zoom. Parents were working on Zoom. People were talking on Zoom. Everything was on Zoom.
Hmm.
Zoom have gone more than 500% in their profit share.
Yeah. Yeah. And their stock was hot at
Yeah.
the time. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Trust me,
exactly.
I invested on Zoom. I was following very closely.
Good, good.
Yeah, it's an opportunity, right? Like
Yeah,
you find the gaps and you take advantage of it. That's what
yeah,
it is. And why Facebook, why social media are making so much money? Advertisement.
yes.
People are spending money on advertisement. How are we promoting our business? We're leveraging social media. We're
And
using.
I know
So go ahead.
every single person right now spending minimum 3 to 5 hours a day on Facebook. Okay, 3 to 5 hours a day. Just imagine if you can change that 3 to 5 hours a day of your time into a money making machine.
Yeah.
Don't you want that?
Yeah.
Because Facebook is not about socializing anymore.
It's a business. It is a
Yeah,
business.
it's a business.
And
So yeah, people
and
need to understand.
and you know what? You invest money, but after you gonna start making the money working for you, the
Yeah,
money will become an asset that you have, that you own. While you're enjoying your vacation on a beach, you're making
correct.
money in the background, and that's what our today's world is about. That's why
Mm.
finances are about today. It's making money in the background while you have your financial freedom and your time freedom, while you can
Yeah,
work anywhere and
correct.
anywhere and anywhere and anytime you want.
Anytime. Yeah,
Yeah, and we both stumbled upon this opportunity through the internet.
yeah. Facebook.
And yeah,
I was on Facebook.
myself LinkedIn,
Yeah,
professional platform. So
see,
I was confident about it, and we it all started with a complimentary webinar, a free
yeah,
webinar, no strings attached. Like we're
no,
not, they don't force you into doing something if you don't want it,
yeah,
right? You go, you get your peace of mind. If it's not for you, thank you very
yeah,
much. We'll see you next time. If it is
yeah.
for you, we become business partners, and we it's the
Grow together.
road to success
Yeah,
together.
correct, correct, correct.
Yeah. So yeah, so we talked a little bit about the advantages of this and why we chose an online business. So that's great. I want to touch base on that. So yeah, so like I said, webinar. After the webinar, you have the next step is your pre-coaching videos if you decide to go forward.
Yeah,
And after that, then
yeah,
just to let you know what are we doing. We
yeah.
have partnered up, and I want you to speak a little bit about that too, Jackie Chan. We
Sure.
partnered up with a company that has been on the market for 40 years plus. Their business uh, plan, marketing plan is they do not spend money on advertisements. Instead, they use what we call network marketing.
Yeah,
So people like us, and that money that instead of paying employees to overlook the marketing companies they're hiring, spend money on advertisement, which will cost them millions and millions and millions of dollars.
yeah.
That millions and millions and millions of dollars, they come to us,
Us. Yeah,
right? It's distributed among us, whoever
correct.
is part of this online business.
Yeah,
And it is a patented compensation plan,
yeah,
meaning no one in the world can have the same compensation plan.
yeah,
So you get commissions, you get at some point you start getting a residual income, and it's also a lifetime income.
yeah.
It does not.
Correct.
It can be transferred to your downline, to
Yeah,
your kids' family. So yeah. So what do you think about
correct.
this business? Before we close this interview, what can you say more about this structure and compensation plan?
See, that's what I said in between of the interview, that when you are looking for something to do online, okay. So when we talk about network marketing, okay, do not get confused with the traditional network marketing where you have to call your friends, your family, hey, buy this, it's amazing product and you make money. No, 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 we don't do that. Okay, so don't get confused. Now, what we do is our job. That's why we say that our system is automated. Our job is to bring traffic into the business. Once that traffic comes into the business through our free webinar, okay, and then when they turn into the prospect business partner, we get commission. Okay. And we teach you how we do that, how to bring traffic. We got a very intensive training system where we teach you step by step how to do that. Okay. The second thing, when I talk about doing something online, okay, because people are desperate to do something online nowadays, especially now at this present moment of time. People are desperate. They want to do something online. So they go into drop shipping, Amazon affiliate, eBay affiliate, you know, selling cheap products to make $2, $5, $100 commission. No, no, you don't want to do that. Because if you are selling a product which is making you $50, $100, it will take you 50 years to make $1 million.
Mhm.
You don't want to do that. You want to do a business where you are making minimum 3 to 5 grand commission. Okay, because that will help you to scale the revenue faster, quicker for you. Now, what you need to look for? You need to look for three things. First, you need to look for is a proven system. Whatever business you are getting into, is that system is proven? Is it working well for people or not? Okay. The second thing you need to look for is how well the community is connected. Okay. How many people are there, those who are doing the business, how well they are doing, okay, and what kind of demographic there is, where are these people from, how they look, how they talk, okay. And then the third thing, you got a right mentor or coach. So if you are getting into the business, do they have a support system in place as a mentor and as a coach? Because success leaves clue. Okay. So if you got a right mentor and the coach, what will happen? Now you got a right system. Now you got a right community. Now you got a right coach that will help you to make that $1 million instead of in 50 years, then 5 years, three
Mhm.
years
Mhm.
because the coach has already experienced, he has already made that money, the system is proven, and the community is there to support you and help you
Absolutely.
when you got stuck. Because nowadays people are buying these courses of drop shipping, Amazon affiliate, e-commerce, affiliate marketing, and all this. They buy the course, okay, then they are left alone.
Yeah.
Now they have to do everything by themselves, but they are not educated. They don't know how to do it because now there is no coach, there is no community, okay, and there is not right system because there is no community, there is no coach. That's why you need to look for these three things. If you tick these three boxes, then you are right to go. Doesn't matter if you come into our community or go anywhere else.
Yeah.
But these are the foundation of any successful online community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. Those are great points to look out for. You touch base on Amazon and their FBA program,
Yes.
or typical programs, maybe like Shopify that use
Shopify.
drop shipping, right? Keep in mind, when people do that, they start with debt, right? Because you have to have inventory. And
Yes.
what assures you that you're gonna get out of that debt and sell those products,
Exactly right.
right?
Exactly right.
Here, you come in without risk.
Yeah.
Here, we start with zero risk.
Yeah.
So it's just upward from there, just
Yeah.
upward.
Because with FBA program, you have to do inventory. If you talk about drop shipping, the biggest problem the biggest problem people are facing right now with drop shipping is the supply chain. You know, you got an order, but your customer is getting the product after 60 days.
Mhm.
Nobody wants a product after 60 days.
Yeah,
What
and
will happen? You will get a bad credit. Okay, your store will look good bad, and nobody will buy from you. Okay, and the higher risks, I know a lady who started Amazon business with $20 and took it to $15 million. Okay. And then what happened? Amazon shut the store down. That's what you need to understand, because you do not have a control. Okay. You are relying on a third party platform.
Yeah.
You know, with us, the best part is that you have a control on your website.
Yeah.
You have a control on your buyers, your business partners. Okay. You have a control on the training, on the system, because you are the owner end of the day, you know
Yeah,
so
you're a business owner. You own a
yeah,
business. This is, and before I say, also, this is an entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur, right?
yeah,
You're a business owner, so you have to have that business mindset, right? Because you're owning a company which is
yeah,
yours,
yeah,
and yeah, and so going from employee to entrepreneur is a big wave of difference.
yeah,
But that's why we're here. That's why we have coaches, mentors. That's why we have a step-by-step training. That's why we
yeah,
educate you. We train you to do so. And one thing about Shopify and Amazon and other e-commerce platforms, right? They have monthly fees. Here,
yes,
there is no yearly fee, no monthly fee.
monthly fees.
So
Just
I
one
think
of yeah,
it's
just
a
one of investment, and you get everything, the tools, the strategies, and the weekly masterminds. We are not leaving you alone after we give you the key. you know we are coming every week, bringing all the community members and teaching them, educating them what's working, what's not working, what should they do, and how they can scale their business. So it's well connected, trust me. And you talked about entrepreneurial mindset, or a business owner mindset. Let me tell you, if you do not have that mindset, doesn't matter. The reason why we got in our community, we have great grandmas running this business. Great grandmas, those who are in their 70s, 60s, they are retired,
yeah,
from their corporate world, they are retired, and now they are running this online business with us. you know and when I one of the great grandma, I interviewed her. She's from Canada also, and I was so amazed to see her so motivated, because she told me that when I got retired, I was sitting home. My kids stays far away from me, so I was by myself, and I was bored, and my mind was freezing. I was like frozen. I can't do anything. I was not thinking too much. And when I found this opportunity and I got connected, now I'm so engaged. I'm meeting thousands of people every day in other parts of the world, and I'm making money at the same time.
yeah.
you know so, and she's 74-year old. you know
Wow, wow. Yeah, this community has gathered so many people, whether they're retirees, young professionals, nurses, construction
yeah,
workers,
yeah,
and so many job quitters too.
yeah,
So many job quitters because this system works. This
yeah,
system provides.
yeah.
Well, hello,
Hello.
hello. So yeah, so I think this is our word and the presence of the daughter saying that we have to stop. That it is
Yeah,
time. It is time to get off and enjoy
yeah,
the good weather in Australia
yeah.
and have a happy Friday.
Thanks,
Well,
man. Thanks.
Jaikishaan, this was a very constructive interview. I think we've had shared a lot of information with our audience and food for thought. Food for
Yeah,
thought. If you have any questions, you can direct message me or Jackson, of
yeah,
course, no problem.
yeah,
We're here. We're here to help. We're here to give you as much as information as
yeah,
possible, and yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for your
Yeah,
time, and I hope to see you on the other side. Thank
of
you.
course. Thanks for having me. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. See you. Bye bye.
Bye.